Shalom. So we had a little encounter yesterday. Andrew says, "Just met these guys and doing a Fountain of Comfort video already. Isn't that the worst? Isn't that the best way of doing it?" So yesterday, my co-sister Tori started a stream, and we were visited by Ben and Grace Thorpe. And I didn't know this term, but apparently the Thorpes are have earned themselves the title "the worst family on YouTube." Apparently, that's a title they have of sorts, and they are what apparently the kids these days call Lolcows. Um, so to explain Lolcows, as Grok explained it to me. So lol standing for loud, laughing out loud, and cow meaning a person who a person a person who you can go back to for um, a lull, for a laugh, this in a similar way as somebody would go back to a cow for milk, right? So basically what and I have to say mostly pathetic people, right, do is they have they go back. They watch Jerry Springer. They watch Maury Povich. This isn't new, and this is part of the reason why I decided to kind of do a psychological eval. Now, from their interactions, it was actually very clear to me very early on, and I said it to some people that there appears to be some parentalizing going on. And then people started sending me this stuff about possibly worse things that could be going on. I actually think what's very clear is that is that Grace has been parentalized, and being parentalized is not a diagnosis. It is a it is a condition that people go through, and for Jan God says, "I've seen the hour-long breakdowns, and now I just know too much." There are apparently a lot of breakdowns on the internet. There's a lot of information about these people on the internet. And I have to say, I don't actually believe that it's... people aren't very good actors. Most people are not very good at being actors. Now, when you get to the point of being the sensations that the Thorpes have become, and again, Grace, as somebody who's been parentalized, and obviously she's a attractive woman on the internet, this is a very good market for her to solicit gifts, let's say, etc. So first, I want to talk about the what's called morbid curiosity. And actually, the most of the research I did was in the psychological literature. There is a professor who apparently works with Arizona State University, but he recently published a book published by Penguin. So, and he seems to be a legitimate he got his PhD from the University of Chicago, which is prestigious, in anthropology, which is bullshit. So I mean, you can take it there, but I actually sent him an email to see if he might come on, and he is apparently the biggest expert on morbid, what he calls morbid curiosity. His name is Colton Scrivener, and yeah, he just came out with a book, or it's about to come out actually. Anyway, I asked, I might be able to have him on and discuss morbid curiosity, but morbid curiosity is a real thing, right? And in some ways, it's actually adaptive, right? So I didn't actually read the article. He's come up with a actual scale for morbid curiosity and an instrument to be used in the research of morbid curiosity, and apparently it's been used in a few studies already. But I want to talk about two things, both morbid curiosity and parentification. And I did a video on parentification before. I think parentification is an important concept, especially in our society today, because it has been happening so much more than it used to. It's I dare say there's an epidemic of parentification, and I think it's important for people to recognize it. Wow. Let's see. Trey wants to come on. Do I let Trey come on? He is on the board of directors of Fountain of Comfort. So, those are the two topics: are morbid curiosity and parentification. I did another video on parentification. So, as far as morbid curiosity, it's important to recognize that we have a range of emotions and things that naturally interest us. And the morbid is a natural part of our emotional makeup. Hello, Mr. Braswell.
Hello, Mr. Jacob.
As a member of the board of directors,
Oh,
I should probably put that in your thing, right? Board. You are a member of the board of directors.
Test.
Yes, we can hear you. Where are you? That does not look like your room. Is that your room?
This is not my room. It is the foyer.
Ah, okay. Where all things are not very very decorative. I see. Okay.
Disordered. Yep.
Anyway, so how much have you been listening? I'm guessing not much.
No, I just got home from church, and I have to study today, but I'm gonna take a little break, so I'm not as stressed.
And you went to church. I'm so proud of you.
Yes, sir. There was
Did
there was
you
a girl
watch?
I wanted to talk to, but she immediately, as I was going, because I keep seeing her, and
Yeah.
as I was going to talk to her, I took the long way out. So she immediately darted, and she was already in the street. So next time,
Okay, next time.
inshallah.
Inshallah, yes, inshallah. Did you watch the stream from yesterday?
Yeah, I watched part of it.
Okay.
I was skipping through pretty much, and it seems like the Thorps were pretty good until the very end. Um,
Yeah, I mean, I had no idea who they were,
yeah.
because I don't watch the disasters that you do.
Yes.
But yeah, so the two topics for the stream today were going to be morbid curiosity and parentification.
Mm-hmm.
And so the whole lolcow phenomenon, which I had to look up and find out what that is.
Yeah.
It's based for boomers like me. Um, lolcows is basically Jerry Springer. So
Yes.
yeah,
I think it's
watching
a little worse, but yeah.
yeah, because this is the internet and you don't have the safeguards that at least even Jerry Springer had, which wasn't much. Um, but there's a reason why we have an instinct. Ooh,
Oh no.
you. Um,
Are you a son now? Oh my gosh. Kaya, no.
poor Lucky. He had a moment of discomfort when I pulled him up by his paws.
Okay.
Um, so what were we saying? What was I saying? So morbid curiosity. The reason for morbid curiosity. So we imagine that we perceive the world and react to it, and that's not actually what happens. What actually happens is we have a conception of the world, a model of the world in our minds, and we test it against reality. And when it that test goes well, then it feels good and we're encouraged. And when that test goes poorly, that's when we start feeling anxiety and depression. Okay. Now, what is a problem we have today a lot is we live in social media where we see only those things which people are willing to show us. And the vast majority of healthy people only show good things. They don't post about all the horrible things that happen in life because that's just not how most people function. And so there is a real skew in which most of what we see in most people's lives on most of the internet is much rosier and nicer than actual real life. And that is deranging. We also have a so the reason why when you drive past an accident you have to stop and look is we have a natural curiosity about the bad things that could happen in life, right? And so when we see the emotional equivalent of a car crash on the internet, a lot of people will pay attention. That's normal, and it's actually to some degree healthy, right? You want to be exposed to a normal range of emotions. You want to see the world as it is. You want to see the bad things and the good things, right? Now, if you start spending too much time uh, looking at indulging your morbid curiosity, that can be very unhelpful. And if you have self-esteem issues, you can also, especially if you're the type of person who relieves your self-esteem by trying to help people, you can uh, this is I mean, so the one person who I had actually heard of who apparently is a lolcow is people call a lolcow is Boogie.
Yes. Boogie. Yes.
Yeah, I don't know the numbers after his name.
Boogie 298.
Yeah, he he's seems like an actually pretty nice guy. Obviously, there are problems that he's had many problems in his life, including morbid obesity. But he seems like a genuinely like a nice person, right? As far as I've seen, obviously you can't actually see into a person's life, But also, things aren't as um, all completely staged as some people tend to make them be, make them seem like, right? Like, most people are not very good at writing a story. Most people are not very good at being actors or staging things. And especially with people like the Thorps, I mean, there's enough police involvement in what's going on and court filings, etc., that a lot of this stuff is real, right?
Yes.
So, I mean, for me, the big things are don't be the type of person who is who um, indulge isn't the right word, who is cruel and doesn't care that apparently what's going on with the Thorpes is people who are living somewhat miserable lifestyles. Um, Although they may also, I don't want there to be so much compassion, which is a problem, especially with young men, where you're like, oh, I will save her, right? Yeah, you're not going to save Grace Thorpe. Um, she might save herself. I hope she does, right? But especially, uh, you're not going to save her by sending her money, which I am guessing is the real reason she continues, and that both of them continue, her father as well, indulging in the craziness that it has been. And it's not like they've had a very long career. They've only been at this for a couple of years, apparently.
Mhm.
Right? Yeah. So, anything you want to say about that?
Um, I mean, I mean, I don't know how familiar you are with like their whole arc, at the very least.
All
Or at
I
least the
know is the summary that Grok gave me.
okay. Well, at the very least, not saying anything against them. These are the allegations, and don't take me to court over this. But there has been at least some implications that Ben Thorpe and Grace Thorpe.
Or yes, that there's a improper romantic relationship there.
Yes.
I think at the very least, what is happening is that there is parentification going on. I think it's very clear that there is parentification going on. If there was actual more to it than that, frankly, with 6 kids and Grace being his oldest and people having gotten child protective services involved, I would expect him to actually be in jail, although apparently there are charges pending against him right now. But yeah, it's I I would say the one thing that's clear is that there is parentification going on, and that's why I want to talk about parentification again. And I think parentification is an important enough concept that regardless of what is actually going on in their lives, we should talk about it.
Yeah. We could talk about this in church today about community and basic stability and basically enduring community and staying in community even when it gets really difficult. And I think that within any community, when somebody comes, either that they corrupt the community, you corrupt the person, we help purify the person, or they help purify the community, right? And there's like differences in between. And the real question is, um, would we help purify or help the Thorpes by letting them in, or would they really corrupt us? And I think what you're saying is chances are that them being here, they would actually continue corrupting themselves.
So what? There are very few people I actively keep off of my my YouTube channel.
Yeah.
Most of those people, it's because they have mental health issues, and because of their mental health issues, I don't I don't want to exacerbate the mental health issues. So
Mhm.
the the best example of that, there is a man, he goes by Wesley something. He came on one of my Bible streams. He believes he is God and Jesus and everything.
Mhm.
Um, and so he came on one of my streams. He said, I am the man who understands all languages. And so I spoke to him in Farsi. Um, he didn't understand what I said. I made fun of him for that and I kicked him off.
Mhm.
So this is somebody who's clearly schizophrenic. I don't want to in any way encourage him. Um, and I certainly wouldn't want to like be the type of person who benefits from like having him on and making fun of him, etc. Right? So
Mhm.
that's one example.
Yeah.
Um, are several people in this community who they know that they are welcome to come on when they are mentally healthy, but at certain points in their lives, they have had um, they have had episodes, and during those episodes, we try to help them. And this is part of what Fountain of Comfort actually like part of how it started and how it functions. There are people that we try to help off the channel as best we can, especially when they're having episodes, right? Um, then there are people who only interact when they can come on, and I have not. I have found allowing them to come on, despite their problems. Uh, there's a couple of people I'm thinking of um, that, at the very least, I'm hoping it does more good than damage to them, right? But there's a reason why I encourage people to talk to me privately, right? And that's what I said to Ben and Grace Thorpe is, look, if you want to engage with learning more about Jews as you claim, okay, Lucky, if you keep this up, you're going to have to go play by yourself.
That dog is fighting you like crazy.
Well, there's a reason for that. He's thieving.
Yeah.
Um, so there's what was I saying? Um, like I I do a lot more. I One of my rules is I spend more time with people off stream and offline than I do online. I make sure to do that, right? That's part of trying to have an actual community where we actually care about each other and we actually take care of each other,
Mhm.
right? Um, but there's also an aspect of like um, I've done these videos where I have talked about people who have had very public mental health issues and um, and ex- tried to explain what's going on. I mean, if Grace Thorpe sees this, which she might, and she looks up parentification, which I hope she does, um, and I should put the link to my other video on parentification on here. Okay, Mr. Man, stop. you are going to have to go. And she finds that useful. Um, Here, I'm putting it in the chat. And she finds that useful, and she thinks that parentification describes which I can't imagine she won't, um, describes a lot of how her development has been. Then you know, I hope it does her some good. And frankly, maybe Ben will recognize parentification, although that would be very uncharacteristic of what I have seen of his personality. And he uh, understands what's going on better. That would be nice. And like I said, I have offered to speak to them individually, privately, not certainly not on my channel. Although, anytime you have an internet conversation with somebody like that, you have to anticipate that um, they're going to be recording it and possibly putting it online because that's
Yeah.
just the type of people they are, right?
Mhm.
Uh, but still, like there is a possibility of having private conversations, and frankly, I'm sure they could use some therapy. Who
Yeah,
couldn't?
I mean, at the end of the day, they need like in-person community that's going to actually help them. But I don't think they're going to receive that, and it's weird talking about people. You know, one thing I want to work on is gossip when they're not here. But it is different in the fact that like everyone can kind of know who they are, and you can't really see Grace and Ben Thorpe as people. Like, I, I can't view them as people. I can only view them pretty much as celebrities, or just like in the fact that I know everything about them in some sort of sense. Like, oh, I know that this guy named Darius had a crush on Grace, and Grace rejected him. Or just all this like sort of online drama.
So here they are.
Howdy, and I would like more to know them as people, and I think this community is like based on people. I'm not really trying to get views, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and if the Thorpes came on here, you know, if they're doing good, I'll trust they're doing good. Um, and if they say it's all an act, I'll be glad. But sometimes the stuff I watch online makes me think that they're not doing good. And sometimes I just think this community could be good for them because maybe they go to an estuary and maybe they start like touching grass more, getting offline, you know. But yeah, but that's just my opinion.
Okay, and apparently Ben agrees that He says, Jacob, you're 100% about the parentification thing. I mean, when I started doing research, so one of the first things that happened was as they were on, people started bombarding me with information and warning me about what's going on. Um, and then um, and then I one of the first things when I got off was I'm like, okay, a there appears to be parentification going on here. And then when I asked Grok some questions, um, let me find a ball to throw for Lucky because he's way too hyper. Look at the ball. Look at the ball. Um, the I was it was like, oh yeah, this is classic parentification going on. Um, and look, our society right now, for a lot of um, for a lot of real reasons, has ended up with a lot of people who have been parentified. So I guess since this is going to be seen by more people than I imagined, since Ben is here, Um, the let's explain what parentification is. So there is a natural um, arc of human development, right? There's a lot of people who try to be younger than they are. There's a lot of people who try to be older than they are. Generally, young people try to act like they're older than they are, and older people try to act like they're younger than they are. Both of these are dreadful mistakes. You should be your age. You should try to act your age. You should try to live your age. And the fact is that you can't be anything other than the age you are, especially because regardless of what you are psychologically, physically, biologically, you are going to be your own age, right? And there's a reason for that. So what happens is that oftentimes there's developmental traumas in people's lives, meaning that at some age, because of some trauma, they start either, well, always their actual development gets stunted, but because of that, they either stay at the age that they're at when the developmental trauma happens, or they start acting like a different age than they actually are because of the trauma. And what happens in parentification, it is a developmental trauma. Often happens in cases of divorce, and often happens when one or both of the parents are negligent. And usually it happens when there are multiple children, and it usually happens to the oldest child, which apparently Grace is the oldest of 6, right? But it can happen even in a 2-parent, 1-child relationship, which is one, or even, although this is far more rare, both parents start treating one of the children as a parent. Okay? So, typical relationship when I was working at the domestic violence shelters that I did my practicums at, we saw this all the time. There's a abusive or negligent father. The mother moves out with the kids, and then what happens is the oldest kid becomes parentified. What does that mean? So you get something like a 9-year-old child, right, whose parent starts treating them like they are an adult. And that child starts taking on the role of the adult. And apparently Grace has said many times that that's how she felt, like she became a second mom, right? And that's absolutely normal, right? So you get sometimes, let's say it's a 9-year-old child, and the 9-year-old child starts acting as an adult, being very responsible, taking care of the other children, oftentimes taking care of the parents, and being more responsible than the parents, right? And so what you end up with is a 9-year-old who's trying to act as whatever age that child imagines, and usually it's whatever age the parents actually are, right? So if the parent is in their 30s, the child starts acting how they imagine a 30-year-old or a 40-year-old or a 50-year-old should, right? Okay, so you have a 9-year-old who's trying to act like he's like she's and oftentimes it's female, but sometimes it's male, right? You get a 9-year-old who's trying to act like a 30-year-old. That's Lucky playing if the noise is loud. Sorry. Now, a 9-year-old doesn't know how to be a 30-year-old. And as the 9-year-old is getting older, biologically, because they're in a developmentally traumatized and stunted situation, the 9-year-old isn't actually maturing emotionally, right? So you get a 9-year-old who's a 14-year-old who's acting like a 30-year-old. And then you get a 9-year-old who's a 20-year-old who's acting like a 30-year-old. Like a 9-year-old thinks a 30-year-old should act. And then when things oftentimes absolutely fall apart is when you end up with a 35-year-old who's emotionally a 9-year-old pretending to be a 30-year-old. Right? And it becomes absolutely intolerable. And that's sometimes when you get a midlife crisis, you get anger outbursts, you get mental breaks, all kinds of things. Right? But it comes from a child who's not ready taking on the role of being a parent. And what can be very, very disturbing and unhealthy, both for the adults and for the child, is when that parent starts actually acting like the parentified child is an adult, right? And oftentimes these parents have severe problems of themselves, and they start acting like, oh, this is my life partner, this is my spouse, right? And I'm not even talking like with it actually becoming sexually intimate, which it can unfortunately become, and which is obviously completely unhealthy, right, in every way. But just that emotional bond where they feel like they're equals because the child no longer has that parent doesn't have a parent, really never did, was their own parent, right? And they don't actually get to go through the various stages of aging and maturing and learning and developing. Did that help at all?
To me?
For anyone. Yeah, Ben says, to some degree, Grace was naturally responsible, always acted like an adult. Parentified children do because they're in a situation where they need to. I don't think it's even a nature versus nurture thing. It's just seriously a defense mechanism that really I would say families have, but including individual children have, where they just, to the best of their ability, they start acting the adult. It's just incredibly unfortunate. It's better than nothing. It is a defense structure, and it's something that's probably actually better for everyone involved than the alternative, which is that there wasn't an actual anyone acting like an adult. That is very, very normal for somebody who has had an emotional trauma, a developmental trauma. They will tend, as someone who has been developmentally traumatized, will tend to be um, sexually attracted to people of the age at which they were traumatized. That's completely an expected thing. So yeah, that's not, it's not unexpected. And as if she emotionally matures, as she emotionally matures, that will change. Um, so my guess is that she is slightly attracted, or whatever you want to call it, to people of the precise age at which she was parentified. It was even worse with the Thorps because of homeschooling. She never had the opportunity to see healthy family dynamics and how other people her age were acting. So she never been able to reflect. Honestly, I'm of two. I'm kind of ambivalent there regarding homeschooling. The fact is that children often learn how to relate to other people and how to interact with people. Um, yeah, there's. I mean, we have the we we're getting an audience because we're talking about the Thorps. Um, but um, television is really really huge in terms of all of that. But yeah, we we act in how we see other people acting. Um, a lot of people who have been traumatized. I mean, this is what happened with Milo Yiannopoulos. I was not at all surprised about the stuff that really really made um, kind of ended his career. It was not um, time to recommend good reading to them. Good reading. Ooh. Honestly, I hate to say it, but I think some of the best reading might be Crime and Punishment by Dostoevsky. Um, that's yeah. We have a lot more viewers than I usually have. Um, I do recommend to people who have had developmental um, traumas that they actually do read a lot of fiction. Narrative can help them make sense of things, but this is a case in which support groups and talking with a good therapist can would be the things I recommend. I recommend to everyone that they do either a CBT workbook or a CBT, that's cognitive behavioral therapy app. If so, there is a website called I Prevail, which has a competent CBT uh, program on it. And if you are in Los Angeles County, for sure, there are other places which um, they're but in Los Angeles County, if you are in Los Angeles County and you sign up for I Prevail, the Los Angeles County Department of Mental Health will pay for it, and it's not very expensive. Honestly, it's wow. So here um, is Grace Thorpe herself. I do recommend it, but yeah, I don't know how much longer I'm going to keep this going because despite the Thorpe raid I apparently am getting, um, the this isn't really what my channel is for. Um, uh, okay. Maybe I will end the stream. Um, Yay. Let's talk about the types of people who end up being a groupie of these types of things, because I'm guessing there's a lot of people. There, like we talked about, there's obviously morbid curiosity, and morbid curiosity is a real thing. Yeah, I don't know how much the algorithm actually likes something like that. But morbid curiosity is actually adaptive, right? So, again, to explain what morbid curiosity is, when we are, especially when we're feeling bad about ourselves, we, especially when we are feeling bad about ourselves, we look towards Jerry Springer type stuff, right? And it's adaptive. It's real, right? We want to better understand. We want to better understand what, the bad things that can happen into our lives, etc. And so it's fine. It's normal, right? Morbid curiosity can become a problem. Um, um, this is not real life. Here, I'll actually answer the question. Why were you talking about 9-year-olds? I was talking about 9-year-olds because that's when most people, when a lot of young women get parentified. Childhood trauma is real. It happens. My theory about Thorpe viewers is their life is so bad that they watch the Thorpe so they can think, at least my life isn't that bad. This is definitely one of the things about morbid curiosity. Here, let's actually read about morbid curiosity. Let me pull up this article. And here is the link in case anybody wants to take a look. And let me pull it up on stage. So let's talk about morbid curiosity. The psychology of morbid curiosity, development and initial validation of the morbid curiosity scale. Like I said before, Dr. Colton Scrivener, he's not a psychologist. He has a PhD in anthropology, but apparently there was psychology involved. But it's not. He's not a clinician, but he is a researcher, and he recently published a book by Penguin on morbid curiosity. He's apparently one of the if not the expert on morbid curiosity. Highlights: morbid entertainment and news topics suggest humans are morbidly curious. The 24-item morbid curiosity scale can be used to assess trait morbid curiosity. Morbid curiosity is a stable and distinct individual difference. One thing I was very, very interested in was apparently there's a correlation between having a low disgust reflex and being highly morbidly curious. So apparently, people with a lot of disgust reactions are not very morbidly curious. Morbidly curious people prefer entertainment with threat as a central theme. Scores of the morbid curiosity scale strongly predict morbidly curious behavior. Abstract. The success of horror films, popularity of true crime, and prevalence of violence in the news implies that morbid curiosity is a common psychological trait. However, research on morbid curiosity is largely absent from the psychological literature. And I have to say, I do believe that this is gendered. And it's not this Colton guy. I don't think it's just a coincidence that he's a male who's studying this. In this paper, I present a psychometric tool for assessing morbid curiosity, defined as a motivation to seek out information about dangerous phenomena. And to go back to what I was saying about our models of human behavior, right? We don't perceive the world and create a model. We have a model of the world in our mind, and then we perceive the world and we match it against our model, right? You're walking down the street, you imagine that the pavement is straight. The pavement is not actually straight. You get surprised by either it's taller or it's lower. There's a hole. There's something in your way, and so when your model is affirmed by your phenomenology, what you actually sense, right? You feel validated. You feel better. Your self-confidence goes up. All the good things, all the good emotions, the positive emotions. When you test against the world and things are not how you imagine them to be, right? That's when you end up with the negative emotions. You end up with anxiety. You end up with depression. You end up with fear. You end up with anger, right? So morbid curiosity seems to be an attraction towards things which generally create negative emotion, right? And there are any number of reasons why you might have these negative emotions. You might be looking for this negative feedback. There might be some masochism involved, actually. But there might also be a sense of exactly what whoever the commenter was said, right? You're feeling, okay, life is bad for me. Let's see how bad it is for other people, right? Okay. Defined as a motivation to seek out information about dangerous phenomena and use it to investigate the psychological nature of morbid curiosity. In studies 1 and 2, 1,370 participants, the morbid curiosity scale was developed and its relationship to personality was assessed. Morbidly curious individuals were rebellious, socially curious, and low in animal reminder disgust, right? So this is the correlation that he's been able to get, right? Somebody who tends to be morbidly curious tends to also be rebellious, socially curious, and low in disgust. I'm wondering what he means by animal reminder disgust. Study 3 with 317 participants demonstrated that trait morbid curiosity is stable over 4 to 6 weeks, and that morbidly curious individuals prefer movies where threat is a central theme. So yeah, I'm guessing a lot of the people who follow the Thorps and that type of thing also probably watch a lot of horror movies, etc. In study 4, 137 participants were presented with a choice between morbid information and non-morbid information, both in image and text. Morbid curiosity predicted over half the variance in decisions to further investigate morbid information. These 4 studies provide evidence that morbid curiosity is a normally occurring psychological trait that can be assessed using the new 24-item morbid curiosity scale. Do we want to read the interaction? What's chat saying? Chava, how you doing? I was not planning on letting people on. This is Fountain of Comfort is the charity on my of my channel. My channel is a biblical Hebrew channel, but also I personally am not a Zionist, which is pretty whatchamacallit. By the way, if anyone finds this content helpful, I highly do recommend you can go to Fountain of Comfort and donate. Please do. But yeah. What are people saying? No, actually, I've decided that if either Ben or Grace want to talk to me privately, they can, but I don't think it would be good for them or for anybody really for them to come on. And so you may notice that there's a lot of wrenches in my chat. There are because, and please feel free to anybody with a wrench. Like this is part of the reason we have the people with the wrenches is so that it's easier to do this. Hey, Michael, how would you like to preach the gospel to some people who obviously need it?
Well, okay. I mean, I don't know. I don't know. I mean, I was just gonna say. I was gonna see. I don't know if you had happened to watch the stream that was on their channel of the stream that I.
Oh no,
started.
I didn't.
Oh,
I didn't. What
so
was that like?
Oh well, it was fine. It was funny because basically it was just real quick. Grace found it's because I put the disclaimer on your channel for the Gentiles and the non-observant.
That's what I imagined was. When
but,
he said he found it, I figured the title because it said Gentiles.
But I mean, I think she just found it real quick, and just when I clicked it on, I happened to be saying something about the Catholic Church to Yoav, and she was like, "Oh, hello, this is interesting," and so that's where it went. But
I dare say this may have been the grace and sovereignty of God deciding how things happen. And if anybody finds this stream useful, then I will feel that my prayers have been answered.
Yeah, and then they had a little post stream follow up too, and
interesting.
Yeah,
I'm gonna have to go find it. And watch
I mean, it seemed like Ben had a good time and they were more impressed with you than they were with Hezi. I mean, I think they just didn't really think he's as sincere as he is, but having come to know him for a longer time, he really is. But I can see why somebody would be suspicious of that. But I mean, I think Hezi's a little too.
He's a sweetheart, and
yeah, he's a I think he's a little bit too generous with the intentions of the average Islamic believer or whatever, where they stand on things. So, I mean, but that's
Yeah. Okay. I'm going to reveal something. Hezi called me this morning because he was just wondering if maybe he was too mean, and it's like, as the man's such a sweetheart. He really is. And I don't think he really realized what was going on. So
yeah. But I don't know. And then he was saying something about his dislike for Andrew Wilson, and then anybody, Andrew Wilson. He's on that whatever podcast all the time. He's an Orthodox guy. Him and his wife go on there, and he's like the supreme debate bro of the day.
Orthodox Christian, I'm assuming.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Ortho bro. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, is he an ortho bro or is he genuinely Orthodox?
I consider him to be more of an ortho bro, in my opinion. I mean,
okay, my criteria for an ortho bro is they haven't actual. There are two types of ortho bros. There are the ones who have never actually been baptized into the Orthodox Church because as an adult they found it and it was hilarious. But there are people who were baptized into the Orthodox Church as children or something and have never been there as adults. So
no, I mean, like, I think he's a real Orthodox convert and all that, but it's one where it's like the appeal is the triumphalism and the owning the libsness of it, and it's because most of what he does, it's all like about like humiliating women and like shame on them for putting themselves in that position or whatever, but like I don't know. Yeah, I'm not a fan, I can say. So it's one point for the Thorps if they're not either, I guess. So
I have to agree with Andrew, except Christ chat. Like, I have to say, if you're the type of person who's actively like enough of a fan of the Thorps that you like, Grace will link something like this and then you'll come and watch my channel because you're that much of a fan of the Thorps, please touch grass. My brothers in I can't say my brothers in Christ because I'm not a Christian, but my dear brothers, please touch grass, go to church. It's Sunday. Read your Bible, pray, maybe get some counseling.
Yeah, I was just gonna say. So here's the thing: like Andrew Wilson, I've seen him like win debates, and it's like, why debate is stupid because it doesn't accomplish anything. You get to win. It doesn't. You don't convince anybody of your opinion.
I don't think debates are stupid as long as they're real debates. Like, there's internet debates which are weird and don't convince. Well, I can't even say they don't necessarily ever convince, but like when you listen to James White debate, right, it actually gives you some idea of. By the way, Chava, I would love if you would jump on. I'm gonna send the link to.
Well, yeah, James White. Well, it's funny because even in the debate world, there was this whole postmodernist thing that happened where the thing is that you don't engage with the opposing argument of the opposing side. Instead, you attack the systemic roots of the whole disagreement, and like this became a stupid thing that like even they started doing it in like high school debate and in college debate too, and it's stupid. It's why it doesn't work anymore, because instead of you win by undermining the whole thing instead of agreeing on a premise where you can actually have shared definitions and
Did you
actually debate
see
the merits or something.
Did you see the debate James White had with that Mueller guy, whatever his name is?
Oh, the
Stone
Stone Choir.
or something?
I
Yeah.
only saw some little clips. I didn't watch when the whole thing happened. I mean,
I watched quite a bit of it. It was an absolute train wreck, especially in the question and answers, because like he was just asking the most obviously stupid questions because he was trying to do the internet trolling thing
yeah,
with James White, and James White wasn't having it. And
yeah. So the internet trolling thing is the like low grade, diluted version of the thing that happened in like college and high school debate, where where they would basically just say like here's the problem, like instead of engaging with the topic, you say this debate is based on a fundamental systemic injustice and we shouldn't even be standing here, but because just by having this debate we're upholding structures of patriarchy and some nonsense or whatever, and like that's what it did, but that's obviously using all the leftist terms, but it's the same thing. So
wow, they're actually sending us money. I appreciate it. If you guys want to send money, my recommendation is to do it through Fountain of Comfort, because then your money will actually go to something better than me paying for StreamYard, and YouTube won't take a third of it.
I am so I don't know if you saw the stream that I had planned for tonight. So I wasn't going to put it on your channel, but I'm going to turn on the grift because we're not going to have any more income until my wife gets another job, and that's not going to happen for at least 3 months or something. So
if you're going to give 60 shekels, at least give 30 shekels twice. That is the thing for shekels, by the way.
So if I can get my I have enough subscribers. I just need the watch hours to get over to the membership thing.
Okay.
If I do,
yeah,
to make content that's exclusive, I'm just going to do karaoke songs. So
okay,
yeah, so that's what people can look forward to unlocking. So
yeah, okay. I mean, I saw you scheduled whatever it was. I thought it was going to be on my channel too. What is it?
It's just like a little 10-minute update, but then I recorded like 5 chapters of my book, and I just figured I'm just going to live stream them all, and then I'll just put the videos out like public, because like it doesn't really perform well as like public videos. Like nobody's excited when I read a chapter of the book, but I want to get it all out there eventually. So I don't know, just try and do different stuff,
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. There are almost 60 people watching this.
Well, I should probably put the link. I should probably put the link for my channel there somewhere.
You should.
Yeah.
Yeah. Guys, check out Michael Sartori's channel. Especially, we should pull up one of your videos.
Yeah.
Where your one of your whatchamacallit WWE videos?
Well, if you're gonna do that, I'll be backstage.
Why?
I don't like watching it.
Really?
Yeah, because like that's the thing of like performance. It's like you can't. It's weird. It's weird. It's weird and voyeuristic to like. I don't know that. They wanted to do it at the South Estuary conference too, and I was like, no, I don't want to. But.
What's a good one? I'm not seeing. What's a good one? The estuary promotion? No.
Yeah, I mean that was a pretty good one. I think like the 500 subscriber video.
The 500 subscriber video.
The thumbnail is big 500 with faces on it.
500 with faces on it. How long ago was this?
I don't know. Here, want me to find the link for you?
Sure. I mean, your that video you made, it was like one of your first videos where you're like, I'm just an NPR listener. That was hilarious.
Oh yeah, that was like the prototype of.
Let me see if I can find.
I have it here because I was gonna throw it in. Oh no, I don't. Okay. I mean, yeah, I can find that one if you want. It's called like a common man or something like that.
How long was that video?
That was a while ago.
Yeah, but it wasn't a very long video.
No, it's not a very long video.
I really like that one. It used to be pinned on your channel.
Yeah, maybe. Oh, I gotta go back through the channel list. I hate doing stuff on the computer. I'm not like the YouTube interface. I know you're probably like way more used to it, but for a long time I was just doing everything on my phone. So I just
that's even worse.
I don't know. I got used to it though. So here, I'll find it.
A working class man?
Yeah. That's the one.
Found it.
Okay.
Okay. We'll take you off stage.
All right. Well, I'm gonna go.
You're not gonna watch? Come on.
Oh, fine. Well, hello. I'm Michael Lewis Thomas Sartori, but you can call me Mike. I'm just a normal working class guy with normal working class beliefs, like we shouldn't trust the government, and the earth is only 6,000 years old, and my great grandpa wasn't a monkey. I also believe that Jesus Christ is the answer to pretty much everything, just like we learned in Sunday school. Now, you may wonder why a guy like me is on here talking to folks like you. As long as I can remember, there was something that I liked to listen to while I was doing my work, and that was National Public Radio. And sure, I disagreed with their communist type politics, but they used to talk about a lot of the finer things in life that I appreciate, the arts and music and such. A man likes to think about the deeper things while he's building a piece of furniture or fixing a building. Well, after a while, I realized that they didn't talk nearly as much about books or music or art or the things that a cultured man likes to think about while he's working. And instead, they were obsessed with these ideas about girls being able to become boys and boys being able to become girls, even though everyone knows that you're born the way that you are and you can't really change that. You can mess up what you got, but it's still going to be what you are. I had to find something new to listen to. What I liked best was discovering this thing called this little corner of the internet. Now, you may not think that a working class guy like me would be interested in discussions about the nature of consciousness or the meaning crisis, but I find that there's nothing like a stimulating discussion to really help make your workday meaningful. And I especially like Paul Vanderklay. I don't think you could ever get upset with that guy. But some of these folks, they're supposed to be at the top of the status hierarchy in their field. It sounds more like they climbed a ladder up their own rear end. Now, I knew enough already that just because you have a PhD doesn't mean you have anything worth saying. But then I found out that it actually doesn't cost anything to come on here and say whatever you want. And that's where we are right now. I'm not trying to do anything fancy here, but from what I gather, the traditional way to end one of these is to say something like, please like and subscribe. And since I'm a Christian, we usually end things in a traditional way too, by saying amen. Yeah, that's pretty good. I should have made it louder, but
I mean, I thought the color palette was pretty pretty amazing. This was 3 years ago, though.
yeah.
I think people are yeah.
I'm glad I have a real job so I can get my teeth fixed. A lot better.
Oh, you got your teeth fixed?
Yeah. Well, you know.
Yeah, I noticed there was a little gap.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I'm probably gonna go spend time with the family or something.
On a Sunday, you have better things to do than sit here and make content for a bunch of people who are morbidly curious and have nothing better to do with their lives?
Yeah, well, I have to like clean the house and everything because we're having a baby in 2 days. So,
Aha.
yeah.
Well, I mean, I have Talmud at 1. I'm wondering if I should just end the chat, or should I let people up? I'm not gonna let Ben and Grace up. Sorry, guys, but like that's just not a good idea. But
Do you think maybe they would like the House of Woo?
I'm not gonna do that to Mark.
I don't know. I had to mute him. I had to mute him on Twitter.
Look. So he's one of those people who I don't think there's anything I can do for him. And frankly, I think this is, by the way, anybody who's watching, this is not the same Mark who was on yesterday, who I don't know very well at all. I've just seen him around. Yeah, there's a lot of people with problems in the world, and unfortunately, a lot of people aren't interested in helping as much as they are in just, I guess it's nihilism and entertainment. Yeah. If anybody who knows me, if you want to DM me, and I can send people private links, but I don't think I can deal with the general stuff of this audience. I do have my regular Talmud class in at the top of the hour. So people with problems are not evil. It's the people without problems who are evil. Yeah, I don't know. I feel bad just turning off the stream when there are 50 people watching. Oh, great. Andrew wants to come and eat on chat. On chat.
Everybody's got
Yon God, you should jump on. Yon God would be great right now. As would RJ. You're not.
How's it going, Jacob? Yeah, I know, right? Who would have thought?
Don, go to the gym. So, Andrew, what are your thoughts about the Thorps? You actually knew about them before yesterday, I'm guessing.
No, I didn't.
You didn't?
I'm very glad. I'm not as schizo as I thought. Turns out Trey takes that title.
Well, apparently, Ben Thorpe was on Destiny, which is like, I never thought I would be two hops from Destiny. That's like, yeah, I feel like I have to go and get tested for STDs or something. So what do you
So
have to say for yourself,
is
Andrew?
Fountain of Comfort the more button-up version of just chatting now, or how's that work?
Well, no, I mean, Fountain of Comfort, I thought this would be useful psychological stuff for people.
Yeah. I think it
And
was very useful for all the boomers who don't know about Lolcows, and yeah.
I am hoping that the information on parentification and um, developmental trauma and morbid curiosity actually helps people better understand what's going on. Yeah, I mean, I'm hoping. What can I say? Play the video? I will play the video.
I'm gonna leave.
You can't
Bye-bye.
leave. We're going to play your video. He left. Okay, let's play his video. This is another Michael Sartori original.
Ladies and gentlemen, on the occasion of Sartori Studios reaching the mile mark of 500 subscribers, they have brought in the greatest legends of wrestling past. We're talking about the Anto Man and the Autistic Warrior. For those who are a little less educated, Onto Man stands for ontological because we're talking about the fundamental nature of reality. Now, you may have heard of your substance ontology and your relational ontology, but we're talking about something greater, wrestling ontology, because professional wrestling is the basis of reality itself. It's the framework that explains the existence of mankind and his purpose in the universe. We're talking about agents in arenas, wrestling, man. And we got it all. We got the substance, we got those guns, plenty of substance there. We got the relationship, because you can't wrestle by yourself. Although some people make a good try at it, but you gotta have someone to wrestle with. And that forms the basis of your relationship. And that's why wrestling is the ultimate picture of reality. Number 500, significant for so many reasons. The legions of supporters, of warriors who have come to support the work of Sartori Studios. You are part of the pattern unfolding before our eyes. So celebrate with us today as we are here to show our support for the future of sports entertainment, of storytelling, of expressing the universe's truth to the next generation through the ultimate form of mass communication, the professional wrestling show. Stay tuned, folks. You're not going to want to miss what's coming up next on Sartori Studios. We've got some big promotional activities coming up in the future, and you're going to want to be a part of it. You're not going to want to miss 1 minute of this fantastic entertainment.
So, what does any of this have to do with WWE? Andrew, what does any of this have to do with WWE?
Don't look at me, man. That's the Chad and Michael Boomer sort of stuff. Oh, I'm sure Paul Clay will play ads, something like that. That's what he says.
Yon God is saying, so above as below gets meta. It has a lot to do with WWE. I can't believe that Grace Thorpe wouldn't recognize what this has to do with WWE. Have you guys not heard of kayfabe? Let's look up kayfabe. I mean, we're talking about morbid curiosity. If we're talking about morbid curiosity, how can we not talk about the WWE? What's so funny?
Nothing. Don't worry.
The Thorpe fans were offended. Oh no, we offended the Thorpe fans. Kayfabe is the portrayal of staged elements within professional wrestling, such as characters, rivalries, and storylines, as legitimate or real. Although it remains primarily a wrestling term, yes, I am quoting Wikipedia, but when you're talking about stuff like this, why not? It has evolved into a code word for maintaining the pretense of reality in front of an audience. Kayfabe is often described as the suspension of disbelief essential to creating and maintaining the non-wrestling aspects of the industry, similar to other fictional entertainment. A wrestler breaking kayfabe is analogous to an actor breaking character. Since wrestling is performed in front of a live audience whose interaction with the show itself is crucial to its success, kayfabe can be compared to the fourth wall in acting, as little to no conventional fourth wall exists in wrestling to begin with. Now you get it? I feel like I need to make saving throws for people. Should I make saving throws for people?
No, we're good. We're good, Jacob.
No saving
We're
throws?
good. We're good.
I have my dice. I know where my dice are. I could get my D20s. Come on. No? Okay, chat. What do you guys think? Should I here? I am going to start a poll to see if people want me to go. How do I do a poll? I don't do polls very often. Engage with your audience. Start a poll. Should I get the D20s and roll saves? Yes or no? There you go. Okay. You guys have 2 minutes before I see, I'm guessing it's gonna win. Like 88% yes so far. How many people? It doesn't tell me how many. 18 people have voted. Yeah. Well, yes. The whole point of having so many people with wrenches is dealing with you guys. I anticipated this day. 22 votes. 82% are saying yes. Okay, I am going to go get my D20s. Entertain the people, Shadow. in case anybody doubted my street cred, that uncut sheet was actually sent to me directly from Wizards of the Coast. I don't have a D100, and there's no way I'm going to skip Talmud. That's not going to happen. But, and yes, even more cred. My dice bag is a Crown Royal deck. Yes, I am that much of a nerd. How many D20s do I have? There's one, there's two. What are the 5 saves that, what's his name gives you? There's another D20.
Wisdom, heart, mind, something, strength. I don't know. Don't look at me. I'm out of here. This is too nerdy for me, Jay.
This is a D30. This is another D30. I can't do a D30. You didn't even notice the magic cards? Come on. Is there a D20 in here? No D20 in here. One more D20. Do I have 5 D20s? There, 5 D20s. Okay. Somebody's got to tell me what the somebody's got to tell me what the 5 whatchamacallits are. 5 saving throws. Yes, and I got it sent to me directly from Wizards of the Coast. Wizards of the Coast sent me that whatchamacallit. So, okay, this is how the saving throws versus propaganda works. Okay. But I don't remember what the 5 of them are. I always choose heart. There's social. There's where's the Grizzlore? Somebody's got to tell me what the saving throws are. Let me ask in the Grizz channel. Saving throws. I'm going to search and see if I can find what the 5 saving throws are. Guys, I don't know what the saving throws are. Survival's one of them. Let's see. Let's see if I can find it this way. Survival, heart, social. What are the 5 saving throws? Survival, wisdom, heart, social. There is it only 4? I thought it was 5. Okay, Chava knows survival, social, wisdom, and heart. So I am going to roll these 4 for saving throws. You get to choose survival, social, wisdom, and heart. And if you pass your saving throws, and I believe the difficulty class is 10, you take half damage against the propaganda. Okay, so this will be survival. It's blue. You got a 9. So sorry, unless you comment in the chat, you're taking full damage. Social, 15, you're safe. Well, you're not safe. You're taking half damage. Somehow, wisdom also ended up with a 9, and heart, you get a 10. Just barely made it. So there you go. We even rolled saving throws. And if you have no idea what I was doing there, you could look up what virtually not alone is. And I think you might be very entertained by our dear friend Grim Grizz. General Griswold Grimm of the 4th LARP Incursion Protocol. No, I never had any Pokemon cards. My favorite D&D is still 3.5, 3.5. And I oh, okay. I was wondering. And yeah. What were the other questions people were asking about? Wow, Ben apparently knows General Griswold Grimm. There you go. AD&D River. Honestly, I have the books for 5th edition right there, but I might have played one game or so. Don't know. Okay, people. I feel bad letting you all go. Talmud is in 20 minutes. You're more than welcome to join my and listen to Talmud. But other than that, I'm not sure I have stuff for you guys. Don't know if I do. Are you like the guy at work that references Monty Python movies all the time? I am glad to hear you have a job. I applaud you for having a job and for talking to people at work. That's good. I don't personally make Monty Python references that often, though. So, don't know. Sorry. It's Talmud Sanhedrin. Jacob, many of our audience think the Talmud is anti-Christian. Can you explain? Ooh, can I explain? I can explain. But like I said yesterday, for questions I have answers, for answers I don't have answers. My most valuable card is a tabernacle at Pendrovale, and it's in the safe. So, I mean, the question is, do people actually want to know? It's kind of boring. There are various versions of the Talmud, Babylonian, etc. So, to explain, there are many people who imagine that the Talmud is a book. Talmud is not a book. In fact, what many people imagine that the Talmud is a volume set of books. That's also not true. Then the people who actually know more about the Talmud, there are several people, or many people, who are rather informed and imagine that the Talmud is the Jerusalem Talmud and the Babylonian Talmud. That's actually not true either. Talmud Torah, what Talmud means, it's a hermeneutic. Now, if no, it's not like Hadith. It's and it literally means to study, and it's a way of trying to understand what God wants from us. So I would actually say the oldest fragment of Talmud that we have is 4QMMT. 4QMMT. Let's pull up 4QMMT. Who here knows who 4QMMT is? We actually got a let's go to Rabbi. We actually at the library, Reagan Library, we had the Dead Sea Scrolls here for a while, and a bunch of us went, and they had one of the fragments that has been used to reconstruct 4QMMT. 4QMMT, also known as MMT or the halachic letter, is a reconstructed text from manuscripts that were part of the Dead Sea Scrolls discovered at Qumran in the Judean desert. The manuscript fragments were used to reconstruct 4QMMT were found in Cave 4 at Qumran in 1953 to 1959. So as far as the dating, I think it's dated, yeah. So the dating is circa 150 before the Common Era or before the Christian era, whichever you prefer. So this is during the time of the Hasmonean dynasty. That's the oldest. That's the oldest example of Talmud we have. So to say that Talmud is anti-Christian, like Talmud is hundreds of years before Christianity, and obviously until the Dead Sea Scrolls became more prominently available. I mean, 4QMMT didn't officially get wasn't widely available until in 19. Yeah, the text was the subject of a legal dispute in the early 1990s when Kim Rohn, who's the guy who reconstructed it, successfully sued Herschel Shanks of the Biblical Archaeology Society and others for a claim of copyright after they published this reconstruction. So he made a reconstruction apparently in 1984. Like it has not been widely available until very recently, and there's a reason for that. I mean, we could go into that, but yeah, I mean, Ben knowing Grimm, yeah, I don't know, I was a little surprised at that, but I mean, who knows? Who knows? But what most people refer to as the Talmud are two examples of the Talmudic. Yeah, well, there's only 40 people watching. Are recordings of Talmudic discussions. But anybody who studied Talmud, who actually reads the Gospels, which very few Jews do, recognizes that Jesus is very Talmudic. And this is part of the whole thing. I don't know if you're aware of Chaim Maccabee and his book. What's the name of Chaim Maccabee's book? The Myth Maker. So this is where the whole idea, and James Tabor, The Jesus Dynasty is actually the book I would recommend for somebody who's interested in it. Jesus, as depicted in the Gospels, is very Talmudic, obviously Talmudic. Well, I mean, don't all my channel discussions end up on that type of thing? And so Talmud as a method of discussion is definitely older than Christianity. Obviously, Christians didn't believe that until until 4QMMT became available. But that is the real significance of the Dead Sea Scrolls. Guy, how you doing? Long time no see. Yeah, I'm not sure I would. I'm not a huge fan of. I mean, it's Chaim Maccabee's Mythmaker. If what I recommend more is the Jesus Dynasty by James Tabor. But yeah, it's also good. Yeah, I mean. Yeah, apparently I bored the people here. Glad to hear it. Glad to hear it. Okay. Looks like things are winding down. There's Talmud in 10 minutes. Who's John H. Walton? I don't know who John H. Walton is. Who is John H. Walton? At Wheaton College and Moody Bible Institute? I don't know anything about this guy. He's been published by Zondervan a bunch of times. Is he CRC? Oh, he got his PhD at HUC? That's hilarious. Okay, I am going to give you guys all of 5 minutes to actually say anything useful, and then I'm going to end it. Talmud is never mentioned in our church as an influence on Jesus. Yeah, it's not mentioned by anyone, any Christian. And it obviously is. I mean, it's some people, I guess, do talk about it, but it obviously is. You might want to look into the work of John Bergsma. He's actually a Catholic for all the Thorp Corp types. And he does a much better job of explaining Talmudic culture as it must have affected John the Baptist and the apostles and Jesus than I've seen anybody else do. Later, my dear sir, God bless you. Thank you for coming by. I said don't tell them about his latest book on prophecy. I don't know if he is CRC. I don't know anything about this guy. Sorry. Also, Talmud up to a point, 1200 AD, was a living document. Was it not? It's still a living document, I have to say. It really is. But what most people refer to as the Talmud is the Babylonian Talmud, which the versions that we have, I mean, it was obviously in manuscript so there was a manuscript that's pretty, like, it was finalized around the year 600, but the versions that most people use are the Vilna Shasas, and those were first printed by somebody else, and then Daniel Bomberg, who's another Catholic. He was actually a Catholic printer. My puppy is having nightmares. Should I wake him up? Oh, I never ended the whatchamacallit today. And the poll. 36 votes. 81% wanted a thing. The Talmud is used by gropers, etc., as quote mining that Jews are anti-Christian. I mean, okay. They can. I mean, when you're trying to quote mine, I have to say, I was surprised at how little they were able to find in a something as large as the Talmud. Why is that not showing? I don't know how come that didn't show on the thing. Okay, I don't understand how at least some of this technology works, but have fun, people. Thank you for the watches. God bless you. Be nice. Pray. It would be helpful for you to explain the context of the quotes in a video to push back again. I've done that several times. Do not miss the black cat in the picture. Yes, do not miss the black cat in the picture. That is shadow, and that is the valley of the shadow of death. Get it? She's in the valley. Shadow is in the valley of the shadow. Bye, people.